After seeing what breaks marriages, there are 3 questions that I'd never skip in a talking stage because they reveal who will stay, who will grow, and who you're actually choosing. Let's get into it. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Muslim Marriage Podcast, where we show you how to find and build a marriage that lasts as a Muslim. I'm Zara Hassan.
And I'm AJ, and we've been married 4.5 years.
And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please do. It really helps us out. And let's get started. So this week's episode is entitled 3 Talking Stage Questions That Predict Long-Term Success. So this is a huge claim. It's a very bold claim. We make a lot of bold claims on this channel. This could have easily been called the bold claim channel. But let's explain why I think that these 3 questions are super important.
For sure.
If I had to ask you to guess, to narrow it down, let's say to one talking stage question that's probably vital, important to ask, what would it be?
Okay, let's get all the jokes out of the way first and foremost.
Okay, go
all the jokes out of the way. How tall are you? How much do you make? And are you a man?
I mean, yeah, definitely. You want to just rule things out. So that's fair. But what about real questions? Any real questions that you're like, okay, I'm definitely going to ask this because I need to know this as a man for my future wife?
I would think like probably, when do you see yourself getting married?
Okay, that's a good one. What would be the idea for asking that one?
Because if they give a time frame that's just way too far out, then I would feel like they're not taking this seriously.
Yeah, that's fair, right? And that's very helpful for things like making sure that it's one of those factors that helps ensure that the person you're talking to has intentions that are somewhat genuine. Right?
Yeah.
If they give a very far out time frame, then maybe they're not really interested in marriage. If they give a super short time frame, then maybe they have other intentions, right?
Yeah.
But we've spoken about that before. So let's get into the 3 questions that I think are the most important. And I've been doing this for a very long time. Alhamdulillah, I've gotten to see from both the perspective of men and women over long periods of time. I've spoken to a lot of people who have gone through divorce. Many of my clients come to see me at the beginning of their divorce or having just gotten divorced for help in recovery. I have gone through divorce. You have gone through divorce. So we have quite a bit of anecdotal information to back up the fact that I think these 3 questions would have been able to prevent, had they been asked honestly and the response received genuinely, would have been able to prevent a lot of heartache, including in my own previous marriage, right?
Yeah.
So let's get to it. 2 of the questions are going to be questions that you ask yourself as an individual. And only one question is going to be a question that you ask the other person, right? And all 3 together are going to give you a well-rounded picture of, is this person right for you in the long run? So before we get started on these deeper questions, these more abstract questions, this episode is meant to serve as a companion to the compatibility guide, which gives a much more thorough discussion of what I believe are the 7 areas that you need to speak about assess during the talking stage, including how to assess them in some detail in order to decide whether or not the 2 of you are compatible. It goes through things like, family planning, how many children do you have, finances, the role expectations in marriage, all of those details that are pretty important. So if you are into searching and you are looking for some guidance on what is it that you're supposed to actually talk about during the talking stage, I highly recommend that compatibility guide. Having said that, this episode is supposed to give you a bigger perspective to help you understand what actually matters in marriage.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the disclaimer. Question number 1. This is a question that you're going to be asking yourself and it is meant to determine who will stay. Now, I've heard other coaches talk about this, but I think it's very valuable and should be asked here. The question you should ask yourself is, if I were hurt, genuinely hurt, or I became sick, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us all, would this person stay and take care of me? Like, to become a little bit graphic, if needed be, would this person be able to take me to the washroom?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like that level.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important question to ask yourself, because it's assessing many different things all at once. So
yeah.
What do you think about that question?
I mean, it's a very good question, because like people don't usually think about that.
Yeah.
When they're talking with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And so they might not see the behavior that could indicate a lack of care in the future should that arise.
Yeah.
So it's a really good question.
Okay, so thank you. I appreciate that. But again, this is meant to sort of focus you in giving you the perspective in terms of what is the most important, and give you like a lens
mm-hmm.
that's going to help you filter for what is most important to help make your marriage last, like, and determine whether or not this individual will stay. Now, I said that this is going to assess for multiple things at once. It's going to assess for character, because for generally people who get married and stay married are people who are true to their word, who are principled, who they're principled. Their integrity is something that matters to them.
Mm-hmm.
So broadly, it is one of the ways to assess character. And if you wanted to know in more depth how to assess character, we went into detail in episode number 98. Second thing, this question assesses whether or not they are invested in you and this marriage. Now, why is this important? We've explained before that the one thing, in fact, the first episode in this series, the one thing that determines inevitably, like, if this one thing is true, then the marriage has a chance.
Yeah.
And if this one thing is not true, then it's very difficult things moving forward. The one thing that's going to determine whether or not a marriage is going to last is whether or not this person wants it to last along with you.
Mm-hmm.
You both need to be invested, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what this question does is it helps you to understand, like, as you're asking yourself throughout the talking stage, over and over, like through this, you maintaining this perspective of, would he take care of me, or would she take care of me if I became sick? Then you would, you're continuously assessing for, are they invested, right? So it is filtering for that investment factor. Now, that investment factor is a very important measure of capacity, right? And capacity we went through in episode number 97. The reason why I'm mentioning these episodes is because they all go together. And for somebody who's actually looking for a spouse, they're designed to fit together. And I highly recommend that you go through them during your search for a spouse, In Shaa Allah. And finally, and probably the most important thing that this question is assessing for, is trust. Because I believe, and this is my personal opinion, there isn't really much written on the subject of what love actually is. I mean, there's a lot in terms of poetry and artistic literature, but not so much in terms of like the academic and scientific literature. It's a very subjective thing. So for me, the way that I understand and conceptualize what love is at the end of the day is trust, right? Dependability, reliability. And this question primarily assesses for, do I trust this person? Right? Do I trust this person on a fundamental level? Now, what is that going to present? Like, what is it that you're going to be seeing during the talking stage that indicates this and does not indicate this? It's going to be all of the little things, right, that are going to be answering the question of, can I rely on this person? So, for instance, when he says he's going to, or she says that they're going to do something, like, do they follow through with that? Right, just for simplicity's sake, and because the talking stage is primarily actions taken by men, right? It just socioculturally, we're just going to use gender language, right? So as a woman, you're going to be paying attention to, does he call if he says he's going to call, when he says he's going to call? Does he reach out to my wali when he says he's going to reach out to my wali? Does he, like, all of the little things and even the big things, does he follow through with those things? That indicates reliability. We spoke about how consistency of communication is the primary way an individual can communicate, hey, I'm serious about this marriage. So that consistency of communication is going to be very important in assessing that. Do they respect your boundaries, right? Do they move we'll call it a relationship, but do they move the relationship or the talking stage at a pace that you are comfortable with, rather than pushing you faster than you're comfortable with? That indicates whether or not this person can be relied on to value your sense of safety, right? So all of those things. Mm-hmm. So we've gone through them in more detail in previous episodes, particularly in the episode of capacity. Yeah. But just the overall sense of, can I rely on this person? Are they invested in me? And do they have a good character? That's what this question is going to be asking. Now, before we move on, I also want to state that this is not a question that you stop asking once you get married. Mm-hmm. Even after you're married, throughout your marriage, through all of the stages and all of the years, it's a question that I continuously ask myself. Like, it's something that I check back in once in a while. It's like, it serves like a barometer, right? Or like a thermometer, just like a measuring device. Yeah. So that lets me know if I still feel like that I can trust you, if I still feel like that I can depend on you and that I rely upon you. And anyone who has been married will know that the answer will vary. Even if it's a general yes, the strength of that yes is going to vary month to month, year to year, circumstance to circumstance. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I check in is because whenever I feel like that the answer is yes, but not as much as before, it lets me know internally that something's up. Yeah. Right? It lets me know that that maybe there's some disconnect has creeped into the marriage, maybe some resentment has creeped into the marriage, but something's up that needs my attention. Right? And what I tend to do for our marriage, and what it is that I recommend for my clients to do, who are in similar circumstances, who have had a little bit of resentment and trust issues creep into their marriage. It's when I say trust issues, I don't mean like loyalty issues. I just mean like the emotional safety, right? Mm-hmm. There's the little things. It's what we spoke about in the previous episode. I'm blanking on which number it is, but I'm
pretty sure it's 101.
I think it was episode number 99.
In the previous episode?
No, this is episode 101. Yeah. So it was a previous episode. It was episode number 99, the last episode we made for people who are married, that talks about the one habit that will determine whether or not a marriage will last or not. That daily habit. And that daily habit is turning towards your spouse. So if you wanted to go into more detail into how to do that, I would recommend you take a look at episode number 99. But yes. The important thing is that this is something that this is a question you start asking yourself at the initial talking stage with somebody, and you just keep it in the back of your mind throughout marriage. Mm-hmm. Now, I've said a lot of things. Does that all make sense so far?
It does. And also, I realized we can name this episode Dalmatians on the Run.
Oh, because it's 101?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Are we going to call 102 the sequel?
There's a sequel? There is a sequel.
There is a sequel.
That's weird.
I was very excited.
I feel like 101 Dalmatians is enough.
You know, when they used to play this movie, this is just a very quick aside, when they used to play this movie in school, whenever they would wheel those TV carts, like I grew up in the TV cart era.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and then they would wheel that into the classroom and they'd say it's 101 Dalmatians. There was two versions. There's one where the dogs talked and there's one that the dogs didn't.
What?
And yeah, I know. Every time they put that on, I'm like, well, this is a waste of time. That was felt like a documentary. I'm like, this is terrible. But the Disney one where the dogs talk, I think is that one was the good one.
Oh, are you talking about the real life one?
Yeah, they made a live action version at some point. Yeah,
I've seen that one as well.
I think they. Yeah.
And the dogs. Yeah,
I don't think the dogs talked in that.
I don't think they did either.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, so that brings us to question number 2. But before we move on to question number 2, you might think, as a single woman, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but where am I actually supposed to meet people who fit this criteria, who will stay if, God forbid, anything terrible happens to me? That's a fair question. If you are serious about getting married, but you're not meeting enough of the right people, that usually means that you're not positioning yourself where the right matches can actually find you. And that's why I created the free challenge called the Tire Camel Challenge, 5 days to meet marriage-minded men, that will be starting next Monday on May the 11th. I will be walking you through how to become more visible and intentional in attracting the kind of person that you want to marry. So somebody who would stay if, God forbid, you were put in this position, right? So if you're interested and that sounds like something that would help, click on the link in the description to learn more. So that, again, that brings us to question number 2. Question number 2 is one that you will be asking the gentleman.
The gentleman.
Yes.
It is I.
It is you. It will be assessing whether or not he can grow with you.
Mm-hmm.
Grow with you during the marriage. Right?
Emotionally.
Yes, absolutely.
I've already maxed out on my height.
Likewise. I think I maxed out, was it at 12 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this question that you're going to ask them is, how comfortable would you be? You're going to ask him, how comfortable would you be with going to therapy? What do you think about that question?
That is going to be a tough one because not a lot of men would be.
I know. But there's a reason why this question is there, right?
Especially like for Muslim men.
Believe me, I have seen that. The number one challenge that women face when they come see me, the married women, is asking their husbands to come on to a session with them, right? Which is why I always offer, if the husband says yes, I always offer that session for free because it's such a big hill to climb.
I see that differently though, because counseling is not therapy.
Yeah,
right?
Coaching.
Yes, coaching is not therapy. Like for me, what I see as therapy is like the emotional spiritual thing, you know?
Okay.
Like where the person's like, and how does that make you feel? Okay. Well, probably try a couple of these exercises, you know, these thought processes.
Yeah.
Just stand in front of the mirror and you say, I am worthy. I am worth it.
Yes.
I am sane.
That's
I am
literally
stable.
These are literal techniques that I use.
The thing is,
yes,
that your techniques have the actual beneficial gain of like marriage and like real world
I appreciate that
techniques.
Thank you.
But like for me, my conflict with therapy is that I feel like all the answers are already provided in Islam.
This is true. So
for like the psychology.
If you were we're in a talking stage and I had asked you this question, how comfortable would you be with going to therapy if I asked you to?
I would have said not comfortable at all.
But would you go?
I mean, like if someone twisted my arm, sure.
Hi, it's me, the arm twister.
Yeah, I mean, like we're married.
There you go.
You know,
even before. I mean, if we weren't married yet.
Yeah.
If we weren't married.
It would be very difficult for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So would that be a yeah? No? Maybe?
Like I would probably eventually do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But if it's okay, let me put this into perspective.
Yeah.
If it's purely the psychological,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Then I would be very hesitant and would not be willing to go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
If it's like to try to cure some sort of depression,
Yeah.
right? If that ever pops up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I'll probably just talk to an imam, talk to a sheikh, try to figure it out that way.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It's your
Yeah.
it's your faith in the practice in the beginning, like
Yeah,
the validity of individual therapy.
Yeah, because like the therapist likely isn't going to be Muslim,
Yeah.
and they're likely not going to use techniques that are already proven.
What if they are Muslim?
If they are Muslim, then I'd be more open to that.
There you
know?
go. Yeah.
Because they could be. I'd still probably want to go to a sheikh or an imam.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they have more knowledge.
Yes.
In that field.
Yes.
And they can tell you what adhkar to read, right?
Yeah.
What recitations, what to do to try to help you in that case.
Yeah.
But if it's the case for like, if you and I, God forbid, ever have marriage issues,
yeah,
right? And then you want to have someone coach us or like talk to us about it, to try to get some solutions there.
Yeah.
I'd be willing to do that.
Okay. So there's a reason why we're going through this discussion here. On, is it camera? I don't know what you would call it. On recording, right? The reason why we're going
on audio.
The reason why we're going through it on audio, is because this is exactly how you would have this conversation in the talking stage with more formality in place, because you and I are actually married, right?
Yeah.
But with just a little bit more formality in place. Because what I'm trying to discern is if your discomfort with going to therapy is related to, I don't really want to deal with the trauma or deal with the child or whatever it is a person might be dealing with. I'm not comfortable dealing with that, right? So that's why I want to avoid it. But you clarified that I have no problem dealing with it. It's just
solutions oriented.
Yes. I have no problem dealing with it. It's just that I don't really. It's important to me to have someone who's faith aligned. Yeah. That is coming from a context of Islam. Yeah. And that, which is a very important distinction, and I agree with. But there's a reason for that. There's a reason for all of this.
By the way.
Okay.
On the record.
Yeah.
We should have just said that.
Yes. No, I just wanted to demonstrate it because this is a difficult conversation.
No, I'm saying like, because you said on the recording.
Yeah.
And I said on the audio.
Oh.
And it's literally just on the record.
On the record?
Yeah. Okay. Even better because it's a record player.
Yes. On the record-ing. Okay.
I don't know how to do the DJ sounds.
Okay. All right. So let me explain why we're spending so much time on this, right?
Yeah.
If you remember in a previous episode, this one actually I don't have the episode number, right?
74.
No, I believe it was the first episode in this series, the Green Flag series, where the question I was asked, how do you know if a person is marriage ready? What makes an individual, what's the difference between a good person and a person who's actually ready for marriage? Because there's a lot of because there's a lot of good people who might not be quite ready for marriage. And that distinguishing factor is whether or not they're ready to deal with their baggage, to deal with their emotional baggage. Now, every single person who has been alive in this world and has been breathing the oxygen has emotional baggage. Very few of us come across, clean, right? Come across not having any kind of attachment issues or emotional trauma or something, right?
Yeah.
From whether it's through childhood, whether it's through previous relationships, whether it's through environmental, it's something, right? Especially as Muslims, because if you're Muslim, you're going to be tested. So all of us come with baggage. What makes a person actually marriage ready is whether or not they are willing to acknowledge and deal with their baggage at some point.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you the number of people, and particularly the ones who have gone through pretty severe traumas, right? So who are just not able to even acknowledge it exists. Who have just shut the door on that trauma, put it aside and says, I'm fine. It's handled, right? The reason why that can be such a problem when you get married is because it will be in the background running your marriage.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing to open it up and to deal with it, there's no starting point for a conversation for dealing with what's actually causing the problems, right? So these are the marriages where somebody will come to me and one of the spouses will have some sort of severe trauma they're not willing to deal with. But the overall complaint will be something like, There's huge disconnect. They won't connect with me emotionally. I feel very lonely in this marriage, right? Or they're not really prioritizing me, or I feel very unappreciated, or it'll be a conversation about the dishes or the in-laws, something. But once we do a little bit of the assessment, it becomes pretty clear that the driver of all of the issues is this underlying trauma.
Exactly.
Almost every single time.
100%.
Therefore, in order to know whether or not your spouse has the capacity to build a healthy marriage, a lasting marriage, or this potential spouse, you need to know whether or not they're willing to deal with their baggage.
Yeah.
And we did an entire episode on how to do that. That episode in the beginning of the series, the one I think it's titled "The Difference Between a Good Man and a Marriage-Ready Man," something like that.
Yeah.
So I recommend you go back to that episode. But the fastest way to assess that is to ask this question. Very uncomfortable question is, would you be willing to consider therapy at some point? Right? Just like you and I had that conversation.
Yeah.
And if they're very hesitant and like, you know, especially if you've been in a talking stage for like 3 months or something and things are further along, and everything else is checking out, it might be worth it just to press just a little bit to find out what the hesitation is about going to therapy.
Yeah.
Would it be, is it because they really don't want to deal with the baggage, or is it because of, in your case, you just really want someone who's faith aligned, right?
Yeah.
So generally, that's how you would have that conversation. Try to keep that conversation light. Try to make it so that it's non-accusatory, non-judgmental, and it's just more curious than anything else, right? So that's that question, and that's how to have that conversation. That brings us to question number 3.
For yourself. No, this is the one that's for the other.
Yes, so the first question is a question you're asking yourself. That's going to help you determine whether or not they're going to stay. The second question is a question that you're asking them.
Yeah.
That'll help you determine whether or not they can grow with you. They have the capacity to build this healthy marriage with you. And
third question, I figured it out.
Oh, go for it. Yeah.
The third question is for them. Will you marry me?
Okay. All right.
Because if they say no to that,
yeah,
then that marriage is not going to work out.
It doesn't get off the ground.
It doesn't get off the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
Am I right?
Not at all.
Oh my God.
So the third question is a question that you, again, are asking yourself, right? And this is, again, I cannot emphasize how important this question is, because this one will delineate or will show you who you're actually, make it clear to you who you are actually choosing.
Elucidate,
yes. Who you are actually choosing. Like it'll just sort of give you a much more honest picture, rather than all of the, what's it called, rose-colored glasses and all the maybes and potential and the fantasy. It'll wipe all of that away.
Yeah.
Right? And help it to give more our lens closer to reality.
Yeah.
Now, this question it was something you're going to ask yourself, if nothing fundamental changed about this person, would I be happy? Right?
A lot of people would say no.
Exactly. So the reason why this is important, this is the question that I cannot tell you the number of individuals who came to me at divorce or just after divorce. This is the question that they did not ask themselves, because a lot of those marriages where I primarily coach women, where women would explain to me, I thought he would do this. I was hoping he would do this. He said that he would do this. He said that this would change and this would change and this would change. Even a lot of young women who come to me who are still in the talking stage and considering someone, who are saying, he says he will do this. Yeah. He will change this. He will change that. That's a mistake. It's always a mistake, because the reality, and I've said it so many times on this channel, the reality is, was it the number 70 or 80%? Either way, a lot of the percent of the things that you argue about or you disagree about when you meet remain the same and do not change.
Yeah.
Right. And the reality is people will never change because someone else told them to. It's extremely rare. They will only change something about themselves when they're ready to change themselves. Now, many of us are getting married in their late 20s, 30s, 40s, maybe even 50s. And you have to be honest with yourself. If this individual didn't change this thing about themselves for the last 20, 30, 40 years, why would they change it for you? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's important no matter what they're telling you. Never ever go by with what a person is telling you, because they can be most sincere. All of us are sincere on January 1st about the things that we're going to, how this is going to be the year that's different. Or even in Ramadan.
Yeah.
If we're honest, at the beginning of Ramadan, how this Ramadan is going to be different. We have the best intentions. We bring out the best and most expensive journals. I'm calling myself out. First and foremost, because all my journals are all here, with the loftiest goals and the most beautiful calendars, and how much of that is accomplished. So don't believe what the person is telling you, because they're not trying to convince you. More likely they're trying to convince themselves. Go with what the status quo of where they're at already.
Yeah.
And really ask yourself, if nothing fundamental changed, would I be happy? Did you ask yourself that question when you were in a talking stage?
I did not ask myself that question, no.
Okay, all right.
But the answer would have been yes.
I was going to say, all right, list your regrets. What are the regrets?
Because the caveat obviously is like, if nothing changed about their personality and their character. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Like for me, for example, I have a bad back, right? Due to an injury that I had a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Still working on getting that fixed.
In Shaa Allah.
And I'm pretty sure if that changed, you'd be happy, right?
But I'm happy now.
Yes, but you would be happier.
I would.
Just like I would be happier. And that's why I'm ruling out any health issues.
Yeah.
So like for y'all in the audience, if your answer to that, like, if nothing changed, would I be happy, is going to be a no, simply because you know that they have a health issue that they're struggling with, that you would like to have fixed, don't factor that into your equation.
Yeah. Like, I know a very common area is religiousness, right? Yeah. This is a very common question where I have sisters come to me before or after the marriage and explain that he's working on his religion, right? He's starting to pray more, he's starting to fast, he's starting to do these things, and it's something that it's a journey we're going to go on together, which is fair, but you need to be honest with yourself, whether or not you can accept where he already is in that journey.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't change, if you're going to be the same. For you and I, during our talking stage, this is a question I asked myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I wanted you to be also cognizant of the things that would make it hard for you to be married to me, which is, for instance, like I have fibromyalgia, alhamdulillah. I had it then and I still have it. And I explained to you that means I'm going to need to take a lot more breaks than the average bear. And I still do. Alhamdulillah, that really hasn't changed.
Did you say bear just
bear.
then?
Yeah. More than the average bear.
Oh.
You don't know about Yogi?
I don't know about that phrase. Okay. No, I know about Yogi Bear.
All right.
But I don't know about that phrase.
He's smarter than the average bear?
Ah.
Yeah. Okay. I super dated myself there.
We had this conversation before. I remember you made that reference.
Okay. All right.
And now I remember me saying this because you made that reference once before as well.
Yes, of course. This is not going to be the last time we have this conversation.
Everything is circular.
So that is one thing, right? But it's something that I'm somewhat working on, but there's not too much that I can do about it. The things that I'm passionate about before, I'm passionate about still, and I'm working on, for example, relationships and marriages. And since you and I have been married, we've started this podcast. We've grown our business. We've done so many things, right? So the things that I was already working on, that trajectory has just continued moving forward.
Yeah.
And the things that I started with emotionally, I was clear with you and I explained, listen, I'm fearful avoidant when it comes to attachment insecurity. This means that I struggle with
any perceived rejection.
Yes, making a mole out of an anthill. Sorry, a mountain out of an anthill. and I'm working on it. I have my strategies in place. It means you're gonna need to be a little bit more patient with me. But I don't know what kind of progress I'm gonna make, right? So I've made some progress, but it's still not 100%. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's important that I was accurate with you in terms of the things that I know it would make it hard for you to be married to me, so that you can have a clear picture about, if these things don't change, you need to decide whether or not, this is for you or not.
Yeah.
And so that's how that you ask yourself that question. And at the same time, it's important at some point during the talking stage, like I get this question a lot, like if I have a chronic illness, or if I have some serious trauma in my background, or if I have a difficult relationship with a family member, or just something that's difficult, at what point do I bring that up during the talking stage? Which is a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
The answer to that is after you're exclusive. When I say exclusive, means like after you've made it clear to each other that I'm not really in a talking stage with anybody else. You're going to speak to my family, I'm going to speak to your family, and we're on the road, relatively on the road to actually getting married, right?
Yeah.
So that usually happens around the 1 to 2 month mark, right? 1 to 2 month mark for most people. Sometimes it's a little bit later, rarely earlier than that. That's when you start having those conversations where you explain, these are the things. I mean, you don't say it exclusively, but the idea is you explain the things that would make it difficult for them to be married to you. But they need to be aware of the places where you might have emotional hang-ups, physical hang-ups, right, etc. So all of that, does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So to recap, because if you're a listener on this podcast, you know that I like recaps and repeating myself a lot. Question number 1 was designed to determine who will stay.
Mm-hmm.
You will ask yourself, if I were genuinely hurt or sick to the level that this person would need to take me to the bathroom,
would they take care of me?
Would they do that for me? Is this someone who I can see doing that? Question number 2 is designed to assess whether or not this person can grow with you in this marriage.
Would they be willing to go to therapy?
Would they be something that you ask them? Would you be willing to go to therapy?
Mm-hmm.
And question number 3 is designed to assess, to give you an accurate picture of who you're actually marrying right now.
Mm-hmm.
You ask yourself,
wait, hold on.
Okay.
If nothing about them changes, would I be happy with them?
Exactly. If nothing fundamentally changes. Now, the reason why I say that, right, is because people grow. People do change, but the fundamentals tend to stay the same.
Yeah.
Right. So if nothing fundamental changes, if none of the things that are important to me changes, would I still be happy with this marriage? Those are the 3 questions. I cannot tell you how important they are. And together, hopefully, they form a lens and a perspective for you to carry into your talking stages, to give you an idea of how to assess them. Because, preference is important, height is important, financial status, these things, if they're important to you, they're important.
Yeah.
But those are not the things that determine whether or not a marriage lasts. These 3 questions are.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, if you want to combine that with getting into the details of some of the other things that are just practically important, more practical things about, how many children do you want to have? What do you expect from me as a wife? What should I expect from you as a husband? Like those things. I recommend you download the compatibility guide in the description, the link for which is in the description below. That gives you a pretty accurate assessment of how to do that. And that's everything.
That is everything.
Is there anything we're missing?
Nope.
Okay. So if you've made it this far in the episode, Jazaa K'Allah Khayr, we really appreciate you choosing to spend your time with us. We know how valuable that is these days. If you are a single woman who is serious about getting married and would like to learn how to position herself so that the right man can start finding you, sign up for the Tire Camel Challenge coming up next Monday. Link for that is in the description below. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel on YouTube, even if you're on another platform, Apple Podcast or Amazon or a different platform, please come back to our YouTube channel and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us out to get the word to more people, inshallah. And that's everything. So have a wonderful week. Stay safe wherever you are. And assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.